everybody, it's Jill with the Hip Kit Club, and I am creating a layout using this die cut that came in the October collection. It is already die cut for you. It is ready to use. The cut is so clean because it's laser cut, and so it is a really cool element to add to a page, and that's available in the main kit this month. So I look at it and I want to mat it on a cardstock color. So I was just going through the different options here. And because I have another video in this month's collection as well that uses a wreath from the actual cut files that you can cut yourself, I wanted to change this one up a little bit. You could absolutely use it as a wreath just as is, but I'm also going to use it where I'm not using those specific pumpkins. And so I go ahead and cut it into pieces. In my mind at the beginning, as I'm planning the layout, I'm thinking I'm going to put them just like they are here. One kind of angled in the bottom corner, one in the top right corner. And that's kind of the concept I'm going with. You'll see it doesn't quite end up that way, but I love how it did turn out. So you'll see the whole process come together. So I started by just inking this. It's white cardstock, so it's really easy to apply color. There's lots of different ways you could go about this, but I went ahead and chose 4 different ink colors that really felt like they matched the colors in the pattern papers and the cardstocks that I wanted to use from this month's collection as well. So I'm just coloring these pieces with kind of a nice fall blend, and where those colors overlap, I'm able to make a little bit more of a variety of shades there. So starting with like a nice soft minty blue and then into a soft yellow, which gave me a little green in between. Then I come in with a nice mustardy yellow, and so that's kind of blending into the lighter yellow, which just kind of gives it a nice gradient effect as it moves along these die cut pieces. There are so many different ways, like I said, that you could color these using all different kinds of mediums. So hopefully you'd have fun just playing around with all the different options on these fun die cuts. And by finishing off coloring those pieces, then they're ready to use and assemble. So I love this darker colored cardstock. The color is called Shadow Blue, which is perfect, and it's just got that beautiful depth. And all my photos that I'm using here have a lot of greens and blues and the oranges in it, and so I liked the grounding effect that that darker cardstock gave. So then I'm going into the various pattern papers. I've got some of the 12 by 12 paper as well as some of the Pocket Life papers as well, and I'm just giving myself some strips. I know I just want to do like a messy mat behind my photos, and so I've given myself some of the cardstock, some of the pattern papers, and then I can kind of play around with building up some pattern behind my 3 photos. So I'm starting with some cardstock, and then I just start playing around with building up layers and adding the color and the texture. I love that texture that the tear also brings in. And I love that wood grain paper. I used it on another layout for a full 12 by 12 background, and it's also in the Pocket Life, and so it gives you a smaller scale of that same pattern, which I love. So as I have my pieces all mounted behind my photo so I can use that as one continual piece, I'm thinking that as I have this going, that concept that I had with the wreath kind of coming in the 2 corners isn't quite working for me. It doesn't feel like it's cohesive this way. And I know I want my title to say Fall and Family. And so I've got those chipboard pieces. Those are also available in this month's collection. And I did coat those with a little bit of gesso, and then I'm coloring them with some of the same inks that I colored the cardstock with. So just applying some ink on that, and it goes really quickly. You can use inks with or without the gesso. I assumed it would need it, but I also tried them without, and that works as well. So I'm coloring the family in kind of that same slate blue color that I used earlier, and then the fall title, I'm using this desert rose color, which is kind of like a dark orangish mauve. So I think that really comes together and pulls in a lot of the fun shades that are in the pattern papers as well. So I'm going to come back to figure out how I want this layout to come together, and you'll see me just kind of play around with every combination of these wreaths. And sometimes that's just how these things go, right? You have an idea in your head, and then once it starts to come together, you're not loving it, and you just keep playing. This is where I figure out that it works great for me. I like the idea of it coming above and below the photo and keeping everything kind of grounded together. So I decided that I didn't love the pattern paper that I had chosen, so I swapped it out for a smaller scale. I just like that little floral. It matches the colors really well that I inked, as well as just that smaller scale helps to just balance it out a little more. So personal preference, but then I'm able to just attach my wreath pieces underneath this whole photo mat, and now it feels cohesive, like everything fits together. And then I went ahead and attached my titles, the fall and family, and at the very end I find an ampersand in the foam stickers, which are also a part of the kit this month. Then I'm using these really cool felt stickers. So you can see how they have lots of leaves, mushrooms, acorns, and even though they're already colored, I went ahead and tapped the few that I'm using with the same ink colors just to help kind of either mute the color a little bit or intensify the color a little bit, just depending on what I was working with. You can absolutely use them as is. But I was just, because I had used those ink colors, I wanted to pull that in and kind of match them up a little bit. And you can absolutely apply ink over those and it works great. So I'm putting just a few of those felt stickers to each side of the title. So at the top by the word fall and at the bottom by the word family. And that kind of gives me a nice balance in where those are placed. And I just create a little cluster on each of those. So this is feeling finished to me, but then I decide to come in, I grab a couple of the acorns, which I thought were just a cute little touch as well, and adding one at the top and one at the bottom. And I loved pulling in a little bit of that pink as well. I think that's a really fun color and kind of unique for fall, and I think it's really fun that it was added in this collection. So I go into the cardstock stickers and I find just a couple of sentiments that I can mat under each of those title pieces, the chipboard pieces. So then I come into one of the magicals and I'm just adding some water to this. And I tested this first because I'd never tried putting these magicals on a darker cardstock, and it looks beautiful. So I tried it and knew I loved it and came in and added some splatters just all the way around. So they kind of add a little bit more detail and then this really fun shine in that wreath shape. So you'll see it as I pull it up close that it dries down and gives you that beautiful glitter and that extra shimmer, and it doesn't dry down to a dark color. It stays really vibrant and bright. And so that was a really fun thing to learn and figure out as I used those. So here you can see the finished layout, and I love how everything came together. That beautiful blend of the nice die cut that's colored and gradient, then all of the fun pattern paper, the chipboard title pieces, and all the embellishments just finish it off in such a beautiful way. I hope you enjoyed seeing this layout come together. For more information, visit hipkitclub.net.